Up next, we have Carla Guenther from Stonington.
You want to know my secret?
Yeah!
Well, my secret is I share a lot in common with a 151-foot copper lady, holding a torch in one hand and a tablet in the other. The Statue of Liberty. Sounds a little obnoxious, but let me count the ways. 1. New Jersey is my home state. And yes, the Statue of Liberty resides in New Jersey. She stands on Liberty Island on the New Jersey side of New York Harbor. I was born in North Plainfield. I moved around a lot after my parents divorced, attending 3 different high schools. This is how I developed the coping mechanisms to hide another secret of mine. I'm terribly shy. Believe it. 2nd, I am a French descendant. As you probably recall, Lady Liberty was a gift to the United States from France and was designed by a French sculptor. My maternal grandfather, Louis Gilbert Leferrier, was a first-generation American whose mother immigrated from France in the late 1800s. I have him to thank for my prematurely gray hair, my sense of humor, my love of the ocean, and my prominent nose, another feature I share with the Copper Lady. 3rd, this one may be a bit of a stretch. Lady Liberty arrived here in 1886, about the same time as my great-grandmother. She was gifted to the United States to symbolize freedom to all those immigrating from around the world as they arrived on our shores. She was to inspire hope after arduous months at sea. I am not an immigrant, but have been a newcomer in many places: Ecuador, Mexico, Alaska, Washington, California, Tahiti, Marquesas, Solomon Islands, Australia, New Zealand, Guatemala, Ireland, Portugal, and Maine. I have navigated several cultures and languages different from mine, and have now seen how rich blended cultures can be when the best of both worlds is retained and adapted rather than conquered. 4th, I am grounded by Deer Isle granite. Lady Liberty stands atop a 150-foot pedestal made of granite, mined here in Deer Isle. All that copper in the middle of New York Harbor needed to be grounded from lightning somehow. And in the 1800s, Deer Isle granite was some of the finest, most sought-after building material for many of our national monuments and structures. From the first time I saw Deer Isle granite in my late teens and 20s as a sea kayaking guide among the craggy islands of Merchant Row, I have been drawn to it, grounded by it. And I'm pretty sure that 30 years ago, my husband Dominic and I crossed wakes in Head Harbor. He on the stern of his brother's lobster boat, and I in my kayak. Here is where I fell in love with humankind's complex relationship with nature and with the sea. This place, its people, and kayaking sparked my desire to seek graduate education to learn more and explore rural fishing communities of the world. This brought me to California for graduate school, where I studied lobsters. Yes, there are lobsters in California. And the California Lobster Fisheries response to the creation of a network of no fishing areas. All the way in California, Deer Isle grounded and guided me. In meeting fishermen, merely mentioning that I had been here brought me a level of credibility that opened doors otherwise closed to my peers and academic advisors, to form relationships, get trusted interview information, and work collaboratively with both Californian and Mexican fishermen. Upon completing my dissertation, I went on the job hunt, and Deer Isle called me back to work, to build a family, and to be part of a community. After 10 years away, I moved back to Deer Isle, later married the Stonington fisherman, and we now have 2 daughters we are raising on Deer Isle granite. Fifth, like Lady Liberty, my career as a scientist has me holding a torch to light the way for disparate cultures and perspectives to come together. I knew I wanted to be a scientist when I was 5 years old. I didn't know what kind of science, or even what science was, but I knew I loved to learn and find answers to questions. Big questions. And I knew I wanted to leave a positive mark in the world. So here I am, some 40 years later. I've got a fancy title, Chief Scientist, the Maine Center, Coastal Fisheries, fancy degree, PhD in marine science, but I don't have all the answers, and neither does anyone else. There's a comfort in that. Everyone is still learning. No one has all of the answers. That means there is room for us to learn together. There's opportunity to find answers, to create solutions together. We all come to this place, this moment in time, with our own experiences and knowledge. Sharing these perspectives, like we're doing here tonight, help us all learn and enhance our ability to relate to those different from us and problem solve together. My job is to be the go-between between so many different parties: fishermen, fishing communities, government regulators, government scientists, climate change scientists. My job is to hold a light on the conversations darkened by stress and rigid belief systems, to illuminate common ground by translating for each of them. This is my work, and the work has increasingly become who people think I am. In these past weeks, it has felt trite to describe my optimism as headlines scream about our fishing future, our community's future. It has been hard to see the path, but I maintain a positive solution is tenable, even if we don't recognize it yet. With hope inspired by Lady Liberty, we might use this opportunity to embark on a daunting journey across rough seas, make changes that were considered impossible before, but will make us better, more resilient in the future. Let us not feel alone in this journey, but rather empowered to make difficult course changes together, as it will take all of us, and perhaps a whole generation, to reap the reward. In writing this story, I asked my 6-year-old daughter for words she would use to describe me. She replied, "The smartest scientist in the universe." I blushed. "Cameron, thank you. Why do you think that?" "Because I love you, and your work is never done."